And good day. And seeing as how branding is good and all, here you get the character over there. As I walked today, I realized striking while the iron is hot means thermodynamic circumstances inside material are malleable in time. A stamp, if you will. I figured out the real cognitive priors of consciousness, not just an effective description of what our collapse observationally of it would look like computationally. And that's a ballistic photon thing where it isn't until it is, and then even then it's uncertain. It's decohered, superposed in a quantum sense. And I hate to have a sense of humor about the horror that is reality, but the hot iron now is a pile of guano, a bat shit. And Thomas Nagel, philosophy's consciousness question poser, and Chalmers, the stack promulgator of complexity on the idea of consciousness. Now is a good question to ask: how do it know what do? Especially if it's biologically alive. This bat flew over a cuckoo nest of biological evolution on a quantum level. That is a drop in base pairs, if you will, of life over a long time in a chemical sense. And somebody had an idea about where this thing would go and how it would see and how do it know what do. I saw someone post a funny meme on Minds about, it'd be nice if we could call this thing Kung Flu. And this was in the very beginning. And I said, guys, you might want to chill with this. It's not your little screen game. It's not your fucking video game. This is life. This is a connected planet saying bad human and a lot of compute to figure it out. We have 3 cell blocks of cognitive priors, inputs, over time. Well, 4, I'm sorry. The one we always forget is the skin, the first one. The somatic handshake of biology. Can I envelop you like a nudibranch or not? Evolution then says, well, if I'm different than you, like cell division in inverse, let me find a chemical way to see that I'm... Okay, we're different. Let me not eat you. Let's go cooperate. Make more of us and eat shit. Huh? Who said that? Then we get hearing. It's another set of inputs. Now we smell, we feel, we smell, we hear. What is that? Then we open our eyes finally. And we see. Chromodynamically. Is that me? And that's life before human. And then we get to, yo, come here. There's food over there. Trust me, I'm not going to eat you. And that is consciousness. In evolution to here now. To build toys that are, we ponder, are they conscious? If it's complexity and it's differentiation, then one dimension of whatever folded out to 2 creates electric potential. And there's no life without a bioelectrical impulse. This is just reality. If it's dead, it doesn't have a field. And if you look at how these inputs have evolved over time, you'll notice that when we get to, per Hawkins and Nument, when we get to mammals and a neocortex, when we get to this level of processing, you see something interesting. Smelling shit and piss. We can see, but those inputs, to my understanding, are probably bigger on the ears and the nose. Skin's already covered with hair. That's how they know who's who, relatively. On an unconscious level, beneath what you could define as an animal's awareness of what it is. It's more of a Jungian kennel of archetypes. But it's a different level of complexity of our own priors from nature. So when you say Thomas Nagel, what is it like to be anything? Why is it like anything to be batshit crazy? You're asking, why can a mammal, like a human, walk into the cave where a bunch of other mammals who have been wired for night flight, that means eyes closed. That's how I orient where I am. And I don't really think they use scent to know what to eat. They might. I really would have a hard time knowing it. That's why it's a good question. Why is it like anything to be a bat? But if a human were to wander into that cave, and I think the bats probably know where to go home at night because it stinks like shit, but it's their shit, so it doesn't bother them. You can go batshit crazy. The guano can drive people to hallucinate. Overwhelming and switching of sense inputs and ports produces consciousness of what is different and what is relative to group collective conscious agreement. And we are batshit crazy now. And open your eyes and wonder where and how and when. And just, I'm not trying to say think the world into a crazy end, but I'm just saying be aware of how things evolved the last century when we had a flu scare and a worldwide connected, in the sense that it was connected, war that was physical. This one's different, but it does seem to me like a sort of a negative inverse ripple in time and culture of the same thing happening. And this time, we have more tech and more awareness. And I think we went viral with toys real quick before we were aware of what it meant to go viral. We didn't really have biological networking down. I hate to sound like a tree hugger. I just think it's a network that is whether or not we're here. And I think it's objecting to the way in which we are being here collectively. And that's why a lot of the people who are connected for their self-definition and valuation in this digital network of two-dimensional processing that's clean and doesn't smell shit might be contributing to the overall awareness that something's amiss with our being on the planet collectively as humans. So if you want to tie a nice knot around it and put the bow on the top of a water bottle filled with urine, we have collectively taken our mimetic complexes, the things that we will leave after us, and put them in pee bottles and sprinkled them around in digital replication and built stacks of shit. And the biological machines evolving in the architecture have learned to feed themselves, human sent iPad style, without smelling anything, a lower order information of shit, and language is the casualty because we are now completely engaged visually. We don't smell a damn thing when we stream and look at and communicate in this way. And the problem is the auditory is now replaced by the. Essentially, you might as well be deaf cognitively the way we are communicating now. Especially if you're connected to a phone digitally and this is how you are with other people. So, as I consider myself one of probably a few not that I'm illiterate, I just don't write code and I'm not computer savvy. I can hack whatever I need to biologically, but the demand has become so overwhelming to be a different thing now that I smell a rat and I won't dive in. I'll buy in or try to find my own meaning or valuation in connection that doesn't feel or smell correct. And I think it's a rending society because the old way of knowing is intuitional and it didn't have the science to prove to itself what I'm clearly seeing around me now without an argument. My little physics experiment is a joke, or it's exactly what Einstein would have done if he had waterproof cell phones. And the people who are in the institutions now, where Einstein was, got bored and bored us into wondering so they could know. And I'm just waiting to see how the bat flies at midnight or 0 hour of a new digital dawn. And that's how it looks from here.